Hello, hello! My name is Kallista, and welcome back to Dragon Age 2. In the last episode, we encountered Sister Nightingale. It seems that Liliana has a nice, shiny new alias, and she informed us that the eyes of the world are watching Kirkwall. Thaddeus is waiting on bated breath to see if the city will fall to magic, and if it does, then it is highly likely that there will be all-out war, and we need to go and warn Elthina about this. A gigantic war is exactly the type of thing Amelia wants to avoid, and I will explain why in a minute, because I'm pretty sure there's a banter trigger right here.
You should have this back.
Twine? When did I loan you a ball of twine?
You gave it to me when I first moved here, when I kept getting lost in Lowtown. It drove the merchants in the market completely batty, but it did help me find my way.
Keep it, Daisy.
I don't think I'll be getting lost again anytime soon.
Well, you never know. Might need to tie a package up, hang a lantern, dress a roast chicken. It's multi-purpose.
Okay, so I was mistaken in that. Abby, at least I think it was Abby, right at the beginning of this Let's Play, I spoke about why I wasn't overly fond of Meryl. And Abby did say that the twine conversation in Act 3 is Meryl trying to give it back. Okay, so fair play. Fair play, Meryl's finally figured out Kirk. Well, that's good. Good for you, Meryl. Yes, what was I saying before? All-out war. Amelia wants the Mage Rebellion to be put down. That's what Amelia wants, but outright fighting between, mages and Templars. The mages could do a lot of damage if they decided, you know what? We want an outright war. I'm gonna stop here so I can get my thoughts out. Because let's be honest, that is where Amelia's brain is going to go. It's not, oh, what if the Templars do damages? What could the mages do? And one mage with a few very well-placed fireballs could raise an entire village in a matter of minutes. If the mages decide to go to war, nothing will be able to contain them, and it's gonna be random-ass people who are just living their lives who suffer the most. Good Andrastian citizens, and that is something Amelia very desperately wants to avoid. Hopefully Elthina will listen. Hopefully. I mean, I know what Elthina's gonna say, but Amelia's hopeful.
I've always wondered, how do your divines choose their names?
They write all the best sacred names on slips of paper and stuff them in a mitre. Then, the newly elected divine picks a name out of the hat.
What if she picks a name she doesn't like? Does she have to keep it?
Of course she does. How do you think we got 4 divines named Hortensia?
I'm pretty sure Sebastian is pulling Meryl's leg there. Based on the epilogue of Inquisition, I'm pretty sure Sebastian's trying to make a joke, but it's Sebastian, and thus I cannot tell. Sebastian so rarely makes jokes as well. I don't trust it. I don't like it.
What would you say to an exciting trip to Orlais? I hear the Grand Cathedral's lovely this time of year.
What? You were right. The Divine will be taking action against Kirkwall, though the sister didn't say what. You must take the holy relics from the Chantry and leave for safety.
Sebastian, I'm surprised at you. Andraste would not thank me for saving a few dusty finger bones and my own skin at the cost of people's lives.
Dusty finger bones? Did you go shopping at the Denerim market? Because you can get like 6 of them for a sovereign. It's a very good deal. Whilst whilst this is funny, this is Elthina's life we're talking about. Amelia wouldn't joke. Not about this.
Are you saying you will not flee?
When I became Grand Cleric, I took a vow to the people of Kirkwall and the Free Marches. I will not leave my flock.
Would you let yourself die?
There is no greater devotion than to lay one's life at the Maker's feet. There is no better death than to take the blow for another.
Please, please reconsider this, Elthina.
Sister Nightingale took a great risk to warn you. Don't be rash.
Please, Your Grace. Sister Nightingale thinks there will be war.
Then, I must make peace. Settle yourself, Sebastian. I'm in no personal danger. I am Grand Cleric. Who would dare attack me?
If you will not shield yourself, then I will be your shield. You will come through this safely by the Maker's name. I swear it.
Oh, Elthina. Who indeed? Who would dare attack the Grand Cleric? Any of you guys got any ideas? Any names jumping out at you? Oh, Elthina, no. Elthina, why? This... Again, I know I've said this before. I think Elthina is brave. You know, oh, there's gonna be a war. I'm not gonna abandon my flock. I made a vow to these people. I'm not gonna run away at the last minute. And I think it is so brave to try and be a force of peace. I'm not gonna pick sides. I'm gonna be a neutral party. I am gonna be a force for compromise and peace. I think that is a very brave thing to do. But that comment right at the end, I am Grand Cleric. Who would dare attack me personally? I'm like, that's hubris. That is hubris right there, love. No, thank you. Now, I'm pretty sure Sebastian wants to speak to us, just for some reason the quest doodad hasn't appeared.
If Elthina won't leave Kirkwall, neither will I. I can't abandon her when the Divine's own agent warned her away.
You're not staying for me? No. No, we are not flirting with the choir boy. Yeah. He is exceptionally devoted to Elthina, and I think that Amelia admires that devotion to the Grand Cleric and the Chantry.
The Grand Cleric is lucky to have your loyalty.
She'd be luckier were I willing to hit her over the head and carry her away. This isn't her battle. But if these Maleficarum rebel against the Knight Commander, Elthina will put herself between them and be torn apart. I must try to make her see reason. This cannot end well.
Oh, it won't, Sebastian. It really won't.
Hawke should do it. Kirkwall needs a Viscount.
Have you asked her if she even wants that?
I watched my parents in Starkhaven. When times are good, the city rules itself. Years could pass and no one would notice who's prince. But when there's famine, when there's war, people look to their leaders. Who does Kirkwall have beyond Hawke?
This is probably a conversation for the two of you to have.
You want me to be Viscount?
Andraste said the Maker is king in the heavens, but it is the kings of Thedas who must recreate his worldly glory. I keep thinking about that. Who better serves the Maker? A brother of the faith, or a prince who can sway a whole city?
I have a couple of points. One, why was Aveline wearing her prologue clothes, especially when she was clinking? She was clinking like she was wearing armor. Secondly, that was Wesley's shield clipping through Sebastian's chest just a minute ago. Oh, this cutscene is bugged. Thirdly and finally, Amelia being the Viscount. Ooh, Amelia doesn't want to be Viscount. She doesn't want that sort of power. Hell, she doesn't want any power. Mages are prone to pride. That is what she genuinely believes, that mages are prone to blackest evil and prideful thoughts. And she feels that, like, that's why she doesn't know any attack spells. If I learn attack spells, I am going to fall to evil. If I am placed in a position of power, I will become prideful and I will sin and I will become an abomination. And I don't want that. I don't want to hurt people. So why would I ever want to be Viscount? Why would I ever want to learn attack spells? If Meredith asked Amelia to be Viscount, Amelia would do it. Because that is a Templar saying, hey, I know the dangers of magic because I am a Templar. Not only am I a Templar, I am Knight Commander. And I trust you. I will be watching over you like a hawk to make sure that you don't fall to those sins, to the sins of magic. Go be Viscount. I'll be looking after you. Amelia would do it. She doesn't want to do it, but she'd do it. Sebastian's saying, oh, I think you should be Viscount. She's like, no, I don't. I disagree with that. Yeah, a brother of the faith. What else is Amelia gonna say to this question?
There's no better way to influence people than standing in a big building and singing, don't you think?
Elthina is risking her life by not deserting her flock. Could I do the same? It's been 15 years since I lived in Starkhaven. The people there are only a memory to me. Kirkwall, the Chantry, that's real. That's where I belong.
I'm glad that's settled, Sebastian. I'm glad that you've finally decided that this is where you're meant to be. It was obvious to Amelia from the get-go, but I'm very glad that you finally figured that out.
Great. Now that that's out of the way, let's get a drink.
Sorry to burden you with my doubts, but I know you and Anders are... It's not my place to question, but please, be careful. He's a dangerous man, and selfish. Whatever he promised, don't think he'll ever put you above his own needs.
Oh, buddy! Buddy! Oh, even the most boring man in Kirkwall is like, Hawk, please. Just, you need to sort this out. Your relationship is a mess. Oh, Sebastian, you do care. That's so sweet. You know, I don't think I ever said what Amelia's relationship has been like with Sebastian over the past 3 years. So I'll do that now. It's pretty much remained the same since Act 2. You know, I imagine they go to a lot of the same chantry services. They probably meet up quite regularly to, you know, go over their favourite canticles and discuss the Chant of Light. And that is probably what has pushed Sebastian to bring his concerns to Amelia. Because I imagine that, you know, Amelia invites him over to the estate, and then he witnesses these huge arguments, these terrifying shouting matches that Amelia and Anders have. You know, he sees that, he sees the fallout. And he probably just thinks to himself, you know, at the time, like, oh shit, I should stay out of this. And I'll just wait until she's alone. I'll wait till I've got her in private. Because, you know, going up to a woman and saying, hey, I think your partner isn't very good for you, in front of said partner, that's a no-go. You wait until they're on their own and then you bring your concerns to them. So that, oh, Sebastian. Me, the player, I'm like, I appreciate your concerns. Amelia's just like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. What the hell does he know? He's taken a vow of celibacy. He doesn't know jack shit. Oh, God. Oh god, now then. Oh, that reminds me, codex entries. I'll read them, and then after that, we are finally visiting our dearest uncle. It's been a while. Amelia does not visit him as much as she probably should. Now then, where are these? I think we have 2. Yep, we have the Resolutionists. Each Circle of Magi is home to various fraternities of enchanters that serve as social outlets for mages and ways for those of like mind to promote their philosophies on magic. The most marginal of these were always the Libertarians, who believed mages must take a more active role in the politics of Thedas. While publicly only advocating greater power for the circles, many Libertarians secretly wished to split completely from the Chantry, as mages did in Tevinter. The Chantry allowed the group to continue in order to note potential troublemakers. The Resolutionists changed all that. Splitting from the main Libertarian fraternity, the Resolutionists are open apostates who support freedom for mages at all costs. They have engaged in acts of terror and sabotage against the Chantry throughout Thedas, and many are connected to Kirkwall's Mage Underground. They have declared that unless mages are freed to rule themselves, they will show every person in Thedas how little protection the Circle of Magi actually offers. Oh dear, this is very concerning for Amelia, especially when, Anders is heavily involved in Kirkwall's Mage Underground. She's just thinking, I need to ask him to stop dealing with these people. This is, this is not a good sign. Also, me the player, how do I put this? I actually take a little bit of issue with this. It's mainly this second paragraph, the idea that, they have declared that unless mages are free to rule themselves. Because here's my point. The Resolutionists, in their own way, they're just as bad as the Chantry, because they are insisting, we know what's best for all mages. We know what is best for all mages. And I'm like, do you? Do you know what's best for Ted from Ferelden? And what's best for Pierre from Orlais? Do you know what's best for all of them? Because there are some mages who want to live in the circle. There are some mages who do very well in that environment, who wouldn't do so well in a Tevinter environment. And I've seen the argument that, the circle should be disbanded and the weak mages will get possessed by demons and die off. And I disagree with that so much. I've said this before. I think the circles, they should still be there, but they should be treated more like schools. They should be treated like prestigious academies. The Templars should exist, but they shouldn't be housed within the circles. They should be housed nearby, so that if the mages feel, oh, you know what, we've got a situation here and we can't deal with it, let's bring in the Templars to help us out. We need to get rid of the idea that, oh, Templars are jailers and mages are prisoners. We need to even the playing field. And I guess part of me does take this a little bit personally. That'll sound incredibly stupid because, magic doesn't exist in the real world. But the idea that, the weak will just die off and then the strong will go and do their thing. I was the very last person in my kindergarten class, in my nursery, to learn how to read. The teachers actively told me, you are too stupid to learn how to read. They called in my parents and said, hey, your kid will never be able to learn how to read. Never in a million years. She's too stupid. Be prepared to have an illiterate daughter. And as I just nicely proved, I can read. I am very good at reading because my parents were very good parents who said, hell the fuck no. And, you know, they really got involved with teaching me. But I do remember being, like, I remember sitting on my bed with my mum and we were trying to read this book and it wasn't going in. I couldn't do it. And I remember crying and saying, I'm just too stupid. I'm just too stupid. And again, by that logic of, oh, the weak will die and the strong will live, I'm like, so I should have been allowed to become illiterate then. By that logic. And I guess I don't like what the Chantry's doing, but I don't like the fact that the Resolutionists are like, we know what's best. What works for us will work for everyone. Because it doesn't. People learn different ways. People have different needs. And there are some mages who need the stability and safety of the circles in order not to get possessed by demons and die. And maybe those are weaker mages, but just because they're weaker mages doesn't mean they shouldn't be given the chance to flourish. Just because a child is slow to learn how to read doesn't mean they shouldn't be allowed to learn. Does that make sense? I hope I make sense. I'm not always sure I do. And Liliana. Many stories have been told of Liliana. Some say she fought alongside the hero Ferelden against the Blight prior to serving at the right hand of the Divine. I'm pretty sure that's incorrect, because I'm pretty sure Liliana is the left hand of the Divine. Maybe I'm wrong. Whatever. Even that is hearsay. The only thing known for certain is that the Bard is often seen at the Divine's side in Val Rayo. This has caused no small degree of alarm in the Chantry's inner circles. Does the Divine have a plan of her own? What might Liliana's part be? The truth remains to be seen, and see it we shall. In Inquisition. Oh, I'm excited for Inquisition. I'm very nervous because, as I said, computer stress. But I'm excited. I'm excited. Now then, let's change up the party. Who do I want for this? Okay, we want Sebastian, Anders, and Fenris. Come along, people. No one has any levels. Good stuff. Now then, to Lowtown. Yeah, Amelia, she really doesn't visit Gamlen as often as she probably should. She just feels...
You should have lived in Tevinter. You'd be happier there.
You're probably right.
There, your magic would be a mark of honor. Apprentice to the right magister, you would do well.
Is there a downside?
Only if you're bothered by owning a few slaves and performing the occasional blood ritual.
So they all do those things?
Just the ones who don't complain about how powerless and persecuted they are.
Oh, guys, why? Amelia's heart jumped into her throat for most of that conversation as she was just like, oh god, Anders is gonna go to Tevinter and become a magister. Oh shit. I find this so interesting because Anders and Fenris, they're very similar. Let's be honest, Fenris has only experienced, as far as I am aware, life under one magister, yet he assumes that his experience was universal. Every magister was like his. He can't say that for certain. Anders does bring up a good point. Oh, they're all like that. Fenris hasn't met every single magister. We know as players that there are magisters who do not do those things, who are campaigning against those things. We meet one of them in Inquisition. The epilogue of Inquisition hints that we're going to meet the other one in Dragon Age 4. I'm so excited for that. Mayveris had better be there. I can't wait to meet her. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, Fenris thinks his own experience is universal. However, Anders does the exact same thing. He paints all Templars with the exact same brush because the vast majority of Templars he has met have been dickheads. yet he can't possibly speak for every single Templar across all of Thedas, just like he cannot speak for every single mage across all of Thedas. There will be plenty of mages who have perfectly wonderful experiences in the Circle, who are never abused, but he didn't see that, so he thinks it doesn't exist. Again, am I making sense? I guess all I'm trying to say is they're two sides of the same coin. And I do like that about them, but it's, their arguments. Their arguments are frustrating. What was I saying? Okay, there was no banter there. Good stuff. I'm so, like, everywhere I go, I'm like, is this a banter point? Is this? Okay. Good job, guys. Amelia doesn't visit Gamlen nearly as often as she probably should, because she feels very guilty about Leandra's death. And I really liked what Gamlen said in that cutscene where, you know, he comes down the stairs and he's like, did you catch him? Did you get it? Where's Leandra? And Hawke tells him, she's gone, Uncle. She's dead. And Gamlen said to Amelia, so you're to blame. If you had been stronger or faster, this wouldn't have happened. And both myself and Amelia, I think we both acknowledge that was emotion talking. It wasn't genuine. He had just found out that his sister, who he did clearly love, he didn't treat her very well, but he clearly loved her. He had just found out that she had died horrifically to a serial killer. That's a lot to take in. That is an awful lot to take in. And I think we both acknowledge that was emotion. He had heard something very distressing. He was just acting out. There was no malice towards it. It was just pure and utter distress and devastation. However, it does prey on Amelia's mind. When she thinks, I'll go visit my uncle today, she does think to what he said, and she thinks, yeah, he's right. That was my fault. That was absolutely my fault. I didn't take care of Mother. I couldn't keep my promise to Father or Carver. You know, they both requested look after Mother, and I couldn't. And thus she doesn't go. I think that's why she's probably brought Anders with her as emotional support, because, you know, she's finally decided, right, it's probably been over a year since she last visited him, and it really is time, you know. First things first, though, do you have anything would like to loot, please? Okay, nothing here. And nothing in here. Okay. Okay, Uncle, how you doing?
So, you've done well for yourself. I had my doubts the first time I saw you, but I guess there was something to that hawk fellow Leandra ran off with after all. He certainly produced an amazing daughter. Your mother would be proud.
Oh, Gamlen! He does care! Oh, this is very true. Amelia does miss her mother. She misses her every day. But Gamlen may be her uncle, but he's not close family. Yeah, like in terms of blood, he is, but that's not what I'm talking about. For the vast majority of her life, Amelia, Amelia didn't know who Gamlen was. He was just a name. She had never met him, she had never spoken to him, never wrote to him, none of that. So, in terms of blood, he is close family. But in terms of emotional connection, he is not. And this is a very vulnerable thing to say. And I don't think Amelia feels comfortable being vulnerable with Gamlen, so we're gonna hide it with a joke.
Uncle Gamlen, was that affection?
I'm feeling sentimental. We're the only family we've both got left. For a long time, I thought the Amel line in Kirkwall would end at me. I'm glad you've pulled it out of the grave.
Gamlin, you're speaking too soon. You've jinxed us. You've jinxed us, mate.
I hear you moved that apostate boy into your house. You really are your mother's daughter.
Hey, yes we are. And Leandra never acknowledged it until right at the end. Oh god, that's sad. Now then, we do have a crumpled note, and this is our dearest uncle, so of course we are going to read his correspondence. Gamlin, I found the gem of Kereshek. If you want it, come to Darktown. Alone.
Leave that alone. There are things in my life that don't actually involve you, you know. Stay out of my business, girl.
No, I'm gonna get right up in your business. There we go, that's a nice shot. However, we are gonna have to get up in Uncle Gamlin's business in the next episode. So, until then, please remember to like if you enjoyed, leave a comment below. And if you wanted to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I've been Callista. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.